This is the Royals POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Kansas City Royals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Royals POSTCAST on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chance Liebau, and I'm here to bring you reaction to every single Royals game the rest of the way. Follow me on Twitter at Chance Liebau. That's at ChanceLieBau. If you can't make a show live, don't worry. These episodes will be uploaded for you to listen to on demand wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for making the Locked On Royals podcast or the Royals POSTCAST your first listen of the day. Before we get started, remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on our notifications so you get an alert whenever we go live. Thanks for joining the show, and feel free to join the live chat. Let me know your thoughts on the game, and I'll do my best to respond to some comments. A lot of negativity today. Not a lot of people very happy with that game. Parker saying that Seth Lugo is washed. Matthew saying that Estevez needs to stop being the closer despite being second in the major leagues in saves and having a sub-3 ERA. Man, a lot of negativity in here, guys. They just want a series. That's I get it. Everybody wants a sweep, but I was fine with today's game. I really was. I thought that was obviously not what you wanted from Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo was not great today. I'm not going to put the W word out there. I'm not going to say he's washed, but I mean, he's got a 3.77 ERA. I think more than anything, I think his arm's just tired. I think he's having a little bit of fatigue right now. He might need a shoulder soreness IL stint for the time being when Lorenzen comes back. Maybe Stephen Kolek will get an opportunity. I'm not a huge I try not to be too reactionary, especially on these podcasts, which I understand is pretty much the opposite of what a lot of people want to see. They want to see me come in like I did on the Sunday game and, declare the season over, just absolutely torch the entire roster. But today's game was pretty fine. I mean, outside of the Lugo start, that was perfectly fine by me. I thought Matt Couture managed the bullpen just fine. I know that people don't want to see Estevez in the ninth inning. Guys, Estevez is he's the best closer on the team. He needed I would rather have him in the ninth inning than throw Luwinder Avila out there against the middle of the order for the Nationals. I'm fine with Estevez pitching in that spot. And let's just get into it. I think that will be what you'll be talking about.
This is what you'll be talking about.
I was fine with Seth Lugo pitching in the ninth, I was fine with Carlos Estevez pitching in the ninth inning. I was fine with it. You can be upset with it all you want. Carlos Estevez is not as bad of a pitcher as everyone wants you to think he is. He's a good pitcher. He did not have great stuff today. Didn't have great command. Put himself in a couple of holes. But, I would rather lose a game throwing your best pitcher in the bullpen in the ninth inning than going out there and relying on a guy in his major league debut in his first bullpen outing of his, I don't even know when the last time Luwinder Avila threw out of the bullpen was, but I would have much rather seen Estevez in the ninth inning, especially with a day off tomorrow, than seeing Luwinder Avila go out there against the middle of the order against the Nationals lineup. And you can say that's wrong. You can chastise me all you want, but that's my opinion. I think the process was fantastic. You throw your best pitcher in the bullpen in that position, or a best available pitcher in the bullpen in that situation. Now, if they get to extra innings and then you have a really depleted bullpen, that's an entirely different conversation. But I was fine with the decision. I don't think he throws that ninth inning if they don't tie the game in the eighth. But obviously, hindsight's 2020. Everyone's going to be mad that Q threw Estevez in that spot because they don't think Matt Couture is a good manager. I don't think he's a terrible manager. I think he's pretty middle of the road. But I think the biggest takeaway is the Seth Lugo outing. I mean, the Royals are in a position to win this game as Seth Lugo just gives them a C- start. He goes 4 innings, gives up 7 runs, 6 earned, just was not very good today. And it's been a growing concern that Seth Lugo just has not had good command. I'm going to pull up Savant because I want to see how much he was in the zone today. But I'm not going to call Seth Lugo washed because I don't think he is. I think he's just hit a rough patch. Everybody goes through these. But Seth Lugo today, pulling it up, Seth Lugo today was in the zone 51% of the time. He did not get a whole lot of chases, 16% swing rate outside of the zone. and he got 5 whiffs all game. So Washington was seeing his stuff. He's not fooling guys right now. That's just not what he's doing. I don't think that the Seth Lugo contract was a bad thing. I really don't. I think that it showed a confidence in the organization and this core group going forward, not just this year. They didn't extend Seth Lugo for this year. They extended him for the next 2. And I think that was the smart decision to do. While this was a bad start by Seth Lugo, we've seen Michael Wacha get blown up plenty this year, and Michael Wacha's pitched really well. We've seen Chris Bubich get blown up. He's pitched well at times. Seth Lugo didn't have his best stuff today. He didn't have command whatsoever. He fell behind in a lot of counts. Heat index was way up. And any of you old people out there, I'm not sure how many old people are going to be watching a YouTube live stream, but if you're here, thanks for being here. Old people will tell you when it gets hot in that heat index and the humidity is bad, man, those achy muscles, those joints start to get a little bit tense. And Gary brings up a great point because Seth Lugo has thrown a lot of innings over the last 2 years. The one reason that Jack and myself were really happy with the Lugo extension was because he's not like a Cole Reagans when he's in his mid-30s. Seth Lugo's been a pitcher out of the bullpen. He doesn't have that tax on his arm. He doesn't have the wear and tear that a pitcher that has been a starter, 150 plus innings for 10 years of their career. Seth Lugo doesn't have that. Now he's had to undergo these last 4 outings where he just has not had good stuff. The arm seems to be a bit tired, and it makes me feel like they probably need to go to a 6-man rotation the rest of the way, not just for him, but also for Noah Cameron, for Michael Wacha, and for Michael Lorenzen. Those guys need to be on, I don't know if I call it an innings count, but they need to be protected. And I think that a 6-man rotation probably does that better than anything else does. But understandably frustrated with this loss. Obviously not where you want to be heading into a really, really important in the middle of a really, really important homestand. I understand a lot of the frustration from the fan base. I'm not going to come in here. This loss didn't upset me because they won the series. It's a long game. I know it's annoying to hear, but it is a long game. It's a 162 game season. So I can't be too upset about them losing this one the way that they did. But at the same time, a disappointing loss because you had your pseudo ace on the mound and you just didn't perform against a team that had not played that well. Now, the Nationals, the biggest concern for me, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, was the fact that they didn't hit well at all against that Nationals bullpen. But we're going to hit a break and we'll talk about the offense because I thought the offense, despite putting up a 7-piece today, was not very good. I did not like at all what I saw today from the offense. And I'll talk about that when we come back on the Royals Postcast. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had a service emergency, like a burst pipe. If the first plumber didn't answer, did you wait? No, you called the next one. That's why having a reliable business line is so important, and that's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone or computer. Did you juggle 2 phones just to keep business and personal calls separate? OpenPhone solved that instantly. OpenPhone is offering Locked On Royals listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedonmlb. That's openphone.com/lockedonmlb. If you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Today's episode is also brought to you by Gametime. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Gametime comes in. Gametime makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you could save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. My girlfriend and I here in Wichita, we're looking to go to the Treaty Oak concert at Interest Bank Arena. And I told her, wait just a second. The Gametime app has great last-minute ticket prices. You can get up to 60% off if you wait until the last minute. So I told her that, and she trusts me because I trust Gametime. Gametime zone deals help pick the best seats in your section for you. So take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today for last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. All right, the offense to me was a massive concern today. They put up 7 runs today. I'll give them that. But they also had 12 hits, but today 4 for 17 with runners in scoring position, 11 runners left on base, including there at the end when the decision to not pinch hit Luke Maile. I have been a Tyler Tolbert pessimist the entire season. Didn't love the decision to keep him in there in the last AB of the game. Also didn't love the idea for Tyler Tolbert to go up there free swinging at the first pitch after a mound visit. I know there are some, armchair quarterbacks that are going to tell me, well, you're going to see a fastball first pitch whenever you have a post pitcher's mound meeting. You might be right, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a good pitch to hit, and it doesn't mean you are a good hitter at the plate. I would have much rather seen Tyler Tolbert be patient in that at-bat against a bullpen that is one of Major League Baseball's worst, if not the worst in Major League Baseball, and a pitching staff that throughout the entire series had been very, very bad about making first pitch strikes. The Nationals were not a very good bullpen at all, and the Royals just didn't hit them well today. They were able to get some runs early against Jake Irvin, but you see a bunch of MLB The Show creative players. I mean, I don't even know if these names are real. Pilkington, Poulin, Henry, Beater, Ferrer. I don't know who any of those guys are, and I follow baseball for a living. This is a hodgepodge of bullpen guys, and the Royals didn't do jack squat against it all game long. They were able to get runs on Jake Irvin, who was all over the zone today. And, Shane brings up that Vinny exploded for 9 RBI in the series. Yes, Vinny had a really good swing today. Vinny had 2 really good swings today, but Vinny grounded into a double play in a very key moment, something he's just done too much this season. I don't want to come off as a Vinny Pasquantino hater. I'm just being realistic. I don't think that he should be held in this high standard that he's some all-star, can't-miss silver slugger, should be put on a pedestal. He's not been good enough this season in the 3-hole spot for the Royals. And today, there was 3 at-bats where he had opportunities. He had opportunities to put them in a position to win and get ahead, and he just didn't do it. Put a ball in the air, get a run in. Him and Maikel Garcia have been, honestly, so frustrating all season because Maikel Garcia has really struggled with runners in scoring positions at times. That's why I'm kind of coming around to the thought of him being the leadoff guy going into next season. So he won't have to hit with runners in scoring position, where his bat path is a little bit more ground ball-y instead of putting balls in the air. But man, I just get so frustrated watching them go up there and flail and flail and flail, hit weak contact, put a ball in the air, be patient. Be unselfish. And that's the one thing that I just get so frustrated with the middle of this lineup is that they don't really have good situational hitting. Something that was a complete 180 from last season when they were the elite of the elite at hitting with runners in scoring position, doing the unselfish thing at the plate. They just haven't been that this year. And that's why I get concerned about the longevity of this lineup. Heading into August and late August, which we're about to head into the latter half of August. It feels crazy. And then into September. I mean, they talked about it today on the broadcast, guys. They are literally 3/4 of the way through the season. At some point, they have to put a streak together. They can't just do this thing where it's, taking a game at a time, picking up a game at a time in the standings. It just feels like not doing that. It feels like them not being able to go on a little tear of 7 of 8 or 9 of 10. Them not being able to do that has just held them back in such a large regard. And that's what's got me so frustrated at this point this season with this team and with this lineup. I don't think that the current construction of the lineup with Maikel at the cleanup spot and Salvi in the 5-hole and Vinny in the 3-hole is the best version of this team. Maybe they need to just scrap some things. And Drew brings up a great point. I appreciate Drew for bringing this up. Reminds you of 2013. And I'll give you that. That's not a bad comp. They are very close. They are just a couple of pieces away, and they were after 2013. I believe after 2013, they went out and they got Nori Aoki, who was the leadoff guy that they had needed. I don't think the Royals need that. They also moved Wade Davis to the bullpen in 2014. But they really didn't go out and get a whole lot in the summer heading into 2014. And if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember. Maybe they went out and got Irvin Santana. But I just feel like they are in such a rut right now. And I have it in the rundown right here. Salvi has been really bad recently. He had the home run on Monday, but other than that, Salvador Perez has had a rough stretch of just not even really being competitive at the plate. Batting average all the way back down to 243. There was a time where he was hitting well above 250. Last 7 for Salvi, 3 for 29. That homer is one of his 3 hits. 8 strikeouts in those games. Last 15 games hitting 183, but obviously having some pop at the plate. I'm starting to worry about Salvador Perez, and the one thing that is most concerning is that you don't have Freddie Fermin anymore, which I love Freddie. I wish him the best in San Diego, but you don't have Freddie Fermin anymore. There is a real pushback from Matt Quatraro to play Luke Maile at the catcher spot more than once a week. You're seeing Salvi behind the plate a lot more here because they have some days off. But also, Salvi obviously is in a position, in August, Salvi is not hitting well. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with the fact that he's behind the plate a lot more. I think when he plays first or he DHs, he is hitting much better than he is when he's behind the plate. And so I think there needs to be a conversation with Matt Quatraro and JJ Piccolo and the entire hitting staff that, hey, we might need to sacrifice a spot in the lineup for Luke Maile, which honestly is better than some of the guys the Royals have run out there recently. But I do think that there is a significant concern in my boat when it comes to Salvador Perez. And Gary says, need to bring up the kid. And I'm not sure if you're on Twitter last night, Gary, but Carter Jensen had a bit of an injury scare. I didn't hear anything more, but hit his hand on the helmet of a batter when throwing down to second base, had to be checked out and left the game. I don't know if Carter Jensen is going to be up anytime soon, but just a little bit concerned about the offense because of that middle of the lineup starting to struggle. And at some point, you're going to have Jack Caglione back, and he is both ends of the spectrum with with Cags, because he's either going to be a big time pop hitter or he's going to be a big swing and miss double play guy. And so there's a lot of question marks right now for me with the Royals. But I just feel like where they're at right now, they need to play Luke Maile a little bit more to sacrifice that catcher spot. And he's an elite defender behind the plate. Sacrifice that to make sure that Salvi is healthy and rested for a potential September run that I don't think is realistic. But inside that clubhouse, they're going to preach them every day. We need to make a run. We need to make a run. But that will do it for me today. I appreciate you guys for being here with us. Obviously, didn't want to have this kind of conversation, but the Royals, will be back at it on Friday, I believe 7:10 first pitch. Yep, 7:10 on Friday, 6:10 Saturday, 1:10 on Sunday. So appreciate you guys for being here with us. We will see you on Friday night for another edition of the Royals Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network.